Welcome to the next room. Yeah. Welcome to the next room. From the field on my way to the next room. Welcome to the next room.
Welcome back to another episode of Next Row. I'm your host, Vernon Davis, and today we have a man who's probably one of the most talented personalities when it comes to media and entertainment. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mike Hill.
My man, Vernon, what's up, man? Thank you. I appreciate the introduction. That means a lot coming from you, my brother. Appreciate
Oh, come
that.
on, man. Look, man, you just got to give credit where credit's due, man. That's all.
Man, I give you appreciate that. I love what you've done, man. Post-football career and how you've branched out. I always kind of get my attention when it comes to these guys that doing the things off the field and not allowing their playing career to define them and their legacy, man. So continue to do what you're doing, my brother.
No, absolutely. Absolutely, man. And Mike, I want to ask this question. Before we get started, before I ask any other question, I want to say, now that I'm retired, what is something you can tell me about interviewing some, like, say you're just looking at, I don't know, maybe you're looking at me playing, maybe I did something or said something I should have said, but let's go back to the Singletary days when Singletary sent me to the locker room. What's something you would have said to me, a young man who's in his 20s? What would you say to me for him doing that? Sending me to, you probably heard about it, but sending me to the locker room, bonehead mistake that I made, just being young and dumb.
Yeah.
What would you say to me?
Keep it a buck, man. Like, hey, we all made mistakes. I know I can't sit up here and say and crucify anybody for making mistakes when they were young. Just learn from it, bro. Like, when he did it to you or whatever, obviously it was a reason why he did it. Mike Singletary is a Hall of Fame coach, a Hall of Fame player, I should say, was a coach and wanted to instill that discipline in you, man. And so even though it was a moment, probably maybe an embarrassing moment, something that you don't want to, you're trying to forget and kind of get out of your mind a little bit, it's something that should stick with you in a good way, because I also believe that things that happen to you, like I've been fired twice in my life, but it's been the best things that's ever happened to me in my career, because it elevated me and it helped me to learn from some of the things or some of the missteps that some people may have thought I've taken in my life. So I would have said to you, man, hey man, don't let this get you down. Don't let this define your career. Move past this and learn from it. And what was the lesson in it? Because I always say your burdens become your blessings as long as you learn the lesson. So if you learn the lesson from that burden, man, it's going to elevate you throughout the rest of your life and your career.
Have you ever had an athlete approach you after you may have said something about him?
No, I've been, you know what? I've had one, but I didn't say anything about him. Yeah, I don't. You dealt with Warren Sapp. Warren Sapp's kind of like cuckoo Cocoa Puffs. Off the field. Warren Sapp, one time after his post career, I was going to interview him for ESPN. I was at the Rose Bowl, and he had just retired. And he and Brett Favre had just retired, but Brett Favre decided he was going to come back. So I was on assignment for ESPN for the first time, and I was in the Rose Bowl locker room, and we were up on the training tables. And I went up to Warren because I was going to interview him for ESPN. I said, hey, man, I'm Mike Hill with ESPN. I'm going to interview you. You and me and Steve Young going to be out there interviewing you for a second. And he said, okay, cool. Nice meeting you. And then he walks back over to me and he says, I know who the F you are. You that blah, blah, blah that said that when I was with the Raiders, that it was the inmates running the asylum and blah, 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 blah. I said, hold, bro. I said, first of all, I don't remember actually saying that. I said, but if I said it, I would stand on it. But I did not say that. But at the same time, where we going with this? And I just remember being on the trainer table, and you've been in NFL locker rooms. Trainer tables aren't on the floor. They're kind of high up. And I remember my legs dangling. And I'm like, if he comes over here, I'm toast. He's going to kill me, right? So I remember people being in the room like Eddie George and everybody, and he just had this loud moment, and I basically stood my ground or whatnot. But at the same time, I was like concerned now because I got to interview this dude in 10 minutes on the set. And guess what? I get out to the set, he doesn't show up. And now I'm thinking I'm toast because I just had an argument with Warren Sapp, and we were supposed to have an interview with him. And then 5 minutes later, he shows up for the interview after we had missed the block. He comes in, we push the interview back, comes on the set. I asked the first question, he totally blows me off. God, Steve Young is there with me. Steve Young starts answering questions, asking questions or whatever. And then later in the interview, he kind of warms up and gets cool with me. And then at the end of the interview, he says, "Hey man, good job, bro. It's always good seeing you." Like nothing had happened 30 minutes ago. So that's the only time I've ever had to deal with somebody who thought that I said something about them because of some criticism or whatever. But for the most part, man, people have been really cool with me, man.
Okay. Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
wondering, have I said it? Because, back in the day, I was very opinionated. I'm still opinionated. I don't know, Vern, and I've always loved you. You're a Maryland dude, man. Loved you. I think you was one of the best tight ends in the game, bro. You had so much potential and so much growth. And, everything that we do in our lives, man, I always want people to reach their full potential. I tell people all the time that I'm not successful. I feel like I've had a lot of success, but I tell people all the time I'm not successful only because I don't feel like I have reached my full potential. I think successful people are people who have attained their full potential. And I still feel like I'm at 55 or 60%. So when I see somebody, especially with your talent, and you kind of was one of a one of a kind type of tight end or whatever, so one of those guys that was one of the first, what we see of tight ends today, and you're not maybe reaching that full potential, man, I want to push you, especially if you're a brother. I really do, because I feel like, man, we are out here setting standards for people, man, but you're doing it. You did it on the field, but now you're doing it off the field. So that's why I say I appreciate you, Vern.
No, I appreciate it. And that's funny you say that because I tell everybody all the time, Mike, I say, look, I don't feel like I've done anything. I don't feel like I play football. Well, I don't feel like I've done anything at all. I feel like I'm always searching, trying to get that next thing that I'm after, whatever my goal may be. And everybody's looking at me like, wow, that's interesting to hear you say that because you've done a lot. I was like, yeah, you might, that's probably what you see, but that's not what I see. I don't have that comfort of knowing that I've achieved certain things because I'm still always on the go looking for that next idea or that next invention that I want to get after.
That's that hunger, man. That's that fire that's inside of us. That's that innate ability that God has given us, man. So when we're somebody like that that's unique, and you feel like you've had a lot of success, and people on the outside are giving you all these accolades and telling you how great you are and what you've achieved, and you're so successful. That's great. You appreciate it because you're proud of the success that you've had. But once again, you also know that there's so much more to fulfill. Be appreciative, and I tell people this all the time. Be appreciative of what you've done and how far you've come. But when you know you still got that burning desire on the inside, and you still have some kind of emptiness that's there, but that that God has given to you, man, keep on pushing, man. Once again, take care of the business you need to take care of right now. But there's so much more that's out there, man. And when I look at my media career, whatever, ESPN and Fox and National for the last 20 years, man, but behind the scenes, I want to make strides. I want to leave a legacy, man. And that's the difference between somebody who's good, great, and somebody who is an icon. You know what I'm saying? That's what makes the Tom Brady's of the world so great. That's what makes the LeBrons of the world so great. The people that continue to push beyond the limits of what's expected of them.
And like at the end of the day, Mike, we can't take any of this with us. It's always a greater purpose and a greater intention besides what we're going after, right? Because a lot of times we don't even see or hear what people out there saying. We don't see everyone who we inspire, right? If
Right.
everybody came to you that you inspired, you'd be like, man, this is deep. Now I see my purpose. My purpose is to have a platform like this where I can reach so many different people and continue to just work and put that work in and achieve things that I never imagined I can achieve. Because a lot of people want to be in your shoes. A lot of people wish they had what you had, but they can't do it. They don't have the capacity to be able to understand how you even did it. Like they don't have the motivation. They don't have the momentum. They have nothing. So for you to be who you are and doing what you're doing, that's going to outlive you. Like whenever someone thinks about success, especially in your sector, right? They're going to think about you. And there's so many people out there that's going to think about you. We can't even see them or feel them sometimes.
Yeah, well, and that's the legacy that you leave behind, man. The impact that you have not on the time that you're here, but the people that you've touched over the years, the people that you've motivated, the people that you've groomed in a sense, the people that were your mentees or whatever, whatnot, the people who leave that legacy on behind because you ask them to continue to pass that on. So when I'm long and gone, man, hopefully I've touched somebody so in such a way that they continue to pass on the lessons that I've learned from other people, and they pass it on. They can continue to say my name 50 years from now. But once again, I want to ensure that. I want to continue to build and climb and do things, man. And once again, I just keep coming back and giving you props. You're one of my favorite guys that was out there, man, because I've always told people, man, I was like, be more than an athlete. That's a God-given ability that God gave you. And yes, reach in and try to achieve your full potential when it comes to that and do the best you can. But guess what? When you're in sports, especially when you're in the NFL, if you got a 10, 12-year playing career, you've done outstanding. But guess what? You're in your mid-30s. What in the hell are you going to do for the rest of your life? And how are you going to use that money that you got over the last 12 years to sustain you for the rest of your life and leave more of an impact than what you did on the football field? Sure, you can
Well,
sign jerseys. Sure, you can sign trading cards. Sure, you can go to the Hall of Fame and do all those things and play golf or whatever. But sometimes when you have the abilities and the skill set that you have, Vernon, the mind that you have, the creativity that you have, there's so much more. And what football was a springboard to help you to reach, like you just said, a bigger purpose to reach people and to have an impact in that way.
no, that's powerful, man. That's extremely powerful, and I like to hear that. Let me go back real quick, Mike. I asked you. We were talking about just like people approaching you and things of the nature. But what about the Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James situation? How would you have handled that?
Well, if LeBron would have come up to me and said something like that to me, especially in that category, it depends on how, because I'm still at the end of the day, I'm a brother. I mean, I'm still from certain parts of neighborhoods, man. It's like I want to respect people, but I also expect when people come to me to have a dignity, some sort of smidgen of respect as well, and not approach me outside of my manhood. You know what I'm saying? Don't approach me and make it seem like you trying to punk me at all. You know what I mean? Not that I'm allow my ego to get the most of me or whatever, and it's just like fighting out in the streets or whatever, because I hate to see, especially brothers fighting amongst one another. But at the same time, I would have, if he would have approached me and I would have said something, I would have tried to say, hey man, you know what? I don't think this is the time and place for this. But I would love to, because I am Stephen A. Smith and I have that access and you have that access to me. I believe that we can have a conversation and the man, either face to face or over a conference. If you want to bring people together and we can have somebody mediate this, we can. Maybe what you heard me say about your kid was out of context, but right now you're about to get ready for a basketball game. I'm here to enjoy a basketball game. I just signed a $20 million contract. This is not the time nor place for this. So I know it's a public spectacle and a lot of people are going to make the most of it, but guess what we're doing? We're doing this in public. We're fighting. We're having this infighting in public. And this is something I spoke on not too long ago when I put something out, that it seems like in the media spaces right now, everybody's fighting amongst each other, especially the black media members, especially the former athletes. Cam Newton's coming after Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark's coming after Cam Newton, and Stephen A. Smith, and everybody hates Jason Whitlock or whatnot, which nobody can stand Jason Whitlock. But it just appears that there's this big infighting that's happening among all of us. And guess what we have in common? We have the skin. And it ain't just a racial thing, man, but at the same time, we have built these multi-million-dollar platforms that are out there. Stephen A. has built this multi-million-dollar platform. LeBron is a billionaire. He is an icon in every single right. And once again, these are people, instead of looking up to them, we're talking about that drama between the two of them. So there's a better way of handling our issues than to do it in public.
No, absolutely. And I honestly feel like everyone has a job, right? As an athlete, my job is to just play the game and be the best I possibly can. Everything outside of that is noise. You listen to the noise you hear. And you may have a family member, you want to stick up for them. That's cool. That's all fine. But it's all good. I feel like it's all good. And as you mature and you grow and you get older, you understand that, look, whatever someone says about me in the media is them saying what they say in the media. They have a job too, just like I got a job.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Like it's like if LeBron James is out there and he dunks on Stephen Curry's little brother and hurts him. Stephen can't get married. He can't get mad about that. It's a game.
No.
Everybody has a job. LeBron's doing his job. So that's how I feel like that's what I wish that we as athletes thought like that.
But something to that, and I'm a media person, so I appreciate you saying that, but there's also a line that shouldn't be crossed. You keep it on the court, keep it on the football field. Don't cross the line and make anything personal. I don't like when somebody who's never played the game, and I'm a media person, calls another person a scrub on television. You're not a scrub. You made the NFL. You're not a scrub. You made the NBA. You're one of the best players in the world. That's not scrub. Now, if you're a former player and you're saying that about that, Charles Barkley, Shaq, all those guys, they got a right to use those names and those terms or whatever. Now, I can criticize your play. I can ask you to step up. I can say, Mikal Bridges, man, they gave up 5, like Stephen A. is saying, they gave up 5 first-round draft choices for you. You know, you came over here, you're not playing up to the full potential. We expect more out of you. Do better. That's fine. That doesn't cross the line. But when you start using names and calling people out of their name, like Skip used to do back in the day, and you know when he was talking about Chris Bosh and Spice, whatever you call him, Spice Bosh or whatever, basically calling him a girl. Come on, man, that's crossing the line and that's over the edge, and I think that's taking it too far. But yes, we do have a job to do, and it's unfortunately, well, fortunately for some and unfortunately for others, in today's media, we as sportscasters are expected to give an opinion and not be in the middle like it used to be.
Now, Mike, shouldn't there be some kind of governance in that? Say if Stephen A. Smith is calling someone a scrub, right? There should be certain things that you can say and you cannot say. Isn't that what's happening? Shouldn't that be happening?
Well, I think so. I mean, that's what I'm saying. You can't cross the line. Don't cross the line. And you can't get up. You can't. And one thing I don't want, like on the athlete's part, don't say, you don't know, I can't criticize you because I didn't play the game. Don't say that I can't have an opinion about the game because I didn't play the game. I know the game. There are plenty of coaches who never played the game that are Hall of Famers that know the game very well. Chuck Daly's one of the greatest coaches of all time. You're going to tell him he can't have an opinion because he coached. So it's just because you didn't play and you weren't in the mud with these guys or the sweat, blood, and tears and all that stuff like that. You didn't have the physical issues that they had or whatever. Doesn't mean that you can't have an opinion about the game, because if you have studied the game long enough, you've been around the game long enough, and you've taught the people who know the game long enough, you're going to get a knowledge of the game. And that's okay for you to have that opinion because we have that credibility, you know? So, but yeah, I mean, as far as the governance is concerned, yeah, I think once again, there is a line that just shouldn't be crossed. Now, where that line is up really kind of up to the individual. You know, like I think when Bronny enters the NBA, for example, you bring up LeBron or whatever, LeBron James' son entered the NBA. He is subject to the same criticism as anyone else. I don't care if he's LeBron's son or not. Yes, he is your kid, LeBron. Maybe I shouldn't talk about you being a parent and what you do for your kid or whatever. I shouldn't address that. But if LeBron James' son, Bronny James, is not ready for the NBA, just like anybody else that comes into the NBA, if I have a say-so about that, I have a criticism about that, that's not for LeBron to get upset about. That's for Bronny to go and do the work and prove me wrong.
Right. Now that makes sense. So there's different, there's give and takes for everything. And you're right. You couldn't have said it any better. You're right. And that's what I believe in. Anytime someone says something about me, Mike, I always take that criticism as constructive criticism, no matter what they say, and I put it to work. I let that make me better. Now, they don't have anything to say. What they going to say about me now? I'm the best in the world.
There you go. And so have you ever had a media member that said something that you thought crossed the line, that went too far?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that I had I can't, I vaguely remember. I can vaguely remember what was said. There was something that was said before, but I can't really remember. The only thing I vividly remember is when my coach said things that a lot of people thought he shouldn't have said.
Yeah.
I took it to heart at first, but then when I thought about it, it's like, it's hard. It's tough coaching. It's hard coaching. I never really let things get to me the way other guys would let it get to them. You know what I mean? I guess some people are different. To me, like I said, I always took things and I said, you know what? They're going to say what they're going to say. And that's it. I come from a world where my grandmothers always said, like, sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt you. You know what I mean?
I got you. I got you.
So I come from that. But to just talking about just social media in general, the world of media, right? Now we see guys like Jaylen Brown, Kyrie Irving, Draymond Green podcasting during the season. How do you feel about that, Mike?
I have no problem with that as long as it's not affecting them on the court. You look,
Mhm.
you guys have a life, man. I hate when people think that you're just basketball players. I hate when the public will get mad when somebody says just shut up and dribble when it comes to politics. But the same people that criticize Jalen Brown or Draymond Green or whatever for having a
Mhm.
podcast are the same ones when it's political season and somebody that they don't like is in office, is doing something wrong, and they don't speak out about it. But you just want them to play basketball. You just want them to play football, right? So how come they can't have a podcast now if you want them to speak out on this issue? So you can't have it both ways. You can't have them speak out on the issues you want them to speak out on, but then when they want to speak out on other issues, you get upset. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
there's nothing wrong with that. Now, if it was something where you're spending all this time off court and it's affecting you when it comes to training. You look back and if you're, and not to bring Shaq into it, I guess I am bringing Shaq if I'm saying it. Back in the day, if when people would get upset with Shaq because the entire summer he'd be shooting movies and doing things and hanging out, whatever, and he come into training camp, he wasn't in shape. That's an issue. That's the only time if it affects your main job, then it becomes an issue. If it does not affect your main job, man, do what you want to do. We live in a free country. You're making $40, $50 million a year. Live your life, man. You ain't just got to play basketball. You just got to play football. People have hobbies. That's just like telling the banker, hey, man, when you get home, all I want you to do is count money. I don't want you to play golf. You ain't got time. You need to make sure that my money's in the bank. You need to make sure what are you doing on your off time? You FaceTime your girlfriend, you going on vacation. What are you doing? No, you're athletes. They can have a life too. So yes, they have to, be ready for camp. They gotta practice. They gotta be ready for the games. They gotta step up. Once again, take care of your business. If you're not taking care of your business, then that's when you're open to criticism. And if you're not taking care of your business on your main job, I wouldn't want to be seen doing something else. To be quite honest with you, I'll be too
Mhm.
embarrassed. I'll be honest with you, as this doing something like this, like if I got hobbies in production and all that type of stuff like that, all the other things I'm telling you about, and acting and stand up and doing all those other things. If I'm messing up on the air at Fox Sports when I was at ESPN and I wasn't showing up on time for meetings and I was always late, or I'm stumbling all over the place when I'm doing my highlights or whatever, and I'm not focused on that, but I got all these other hobbies and I'm doing stand up until 1 o'clock in the morning, but I'm dead ass tired when I come to Fox Sports. That's an issue. That's an issue. But if I can do stand up until 1 o'clock in the morning in a smoky club or whatever, and then still show up at work and be on point and do my thing, you have nothing to say about what I do in my off time. Nothing. Because you do
Mm.
have off time.
'Cause you're handling business. I know, no, I get that. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. You're right. I think that goes for anybody in any career, any field. Like, as long
Mhm.
as you're doing your work, it doesn't matter what you do in your personal life, right? You
Absolutely.
coming to show up. You coming to show up. You're accountable. You're disciplined. It it's all good.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Mike,
Absolutely.
what's the funniest thing that ever happened to you on let's say on live television? Just live. What has happened to you? Funniest thing?
I got back in the day, I had my tooth knocked out. When I was playing basketball, I had a root canal. And over a period of time, it started getting loose, right? So I had to actually have implants. So this is a fake tooth. No, a lot of people don't know that I said that, but I had a fake tooth. One time when I was on air, when I had the partial in there, one time I was on air and it kind of popped out. You know what I mean? Now you didn't see everything, but I'm like I had to cover myself real quick. But the people that was on the air with me was just cracking. Frank Thomas and all those guys were cracking up because my tooth popped out. And then there was one time early in my career. I didn't know much about the green screens, but if you know anything about television, they have these green screens, and a lot of times back in the day, they would put the graphics up on the green screen, so you would see like a full screen talking about something that's happening in a community center or something like that. And this one time, the anchor was talking about erectile dysfunction something. It was something erectile dysfunction. And at that particular time, I walked across the green screen. So it looked like he was talking about me and erectile dysfunction because you see the green screen and the graphic about erectile dysfunction. And it's almost like I'm the poster child for erectile dysfunction. So
Oh,
those are
man.
the two things that kind of stand out to me. Yeah, which I don't have a problem with ED, just by the way. I know I'm in my mid-50s just in case anybody's out there watching, you know what I'm saying? If I did, I'd take I'll take him an endorsement deal. Don't worry about it. I'll fake it. I'll do that.
Hey, man, hey, that's hilarious, man. That's hilarious. You made me think about what just happened recently, not too long ago with the guy. What's the fighter, Big Baby, who the weight
Yeah,
came
big
on?
yep,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
2 papers. What they call it? The wig, the hairline, the hair system?
Yeah, unit. Split his wig. He literally split his wig, man. Yep.
Man, nothing wrong with the unit, but the unit gotta stay on, man. The
Stay on,
unit
man.
got
You gotta have the right kind of glue for that bad boy, man. I probably in myself and standing up here, you know what I'm saying? Everybody want me to come over to you, Vernon. Everybody want me to come over this to go ahead and come on home. I'm trying to hold
Yeah, man,
on
you
and
gotta keep it low, man. You gotta keep it low.
no, I'm trying to hold on, man. I'm like, I'm more determined than LeBron to keep my hairline. LeBron be putting spray paint, all kind of fibers, imported grass, black grass from France, all in his hair, man.
We
He
trying
is
to
the
figure it out, man. He holding on.
He holding on, baby. He is holding on.
I
That's
would
one
assume
thing
you're
he
a
got.
billionaire. You should be able to figure it out. You're a billionaire. You can do anything with your hair, right?
You would think so, but you know what? I don't understand how come he can't figure out how to get a hairline. You're a billionaire. You could buy Turkey with the money that you got, and all them hair transplants they got over in Turkey. Go over there in Turkey and get you a hair transplant. Get it done right. Put a hat on for 3 months, and just come back with a head full of hair like Deion Sanders did, or be like Jaylen Brown and just spray paint that bad boy like he does,
Yeah.
man.
You know what they say? Sometimes money can't buy everything. There's some things that money just can't buy.
Money can't buy. Why can't money buy Kevin Durant a comb? Why can't money? And I just saw Kevin, and this is smart. The smartest thing Kevin Durant's done in his career is finally get him an endorsement deal, endorsing lotion. He finally did that. Like, how come Kevin Durant, with all this money that you got, how come you got nappy hair and a nappy beard? We don't even see that among brothers anymore. We haven't seen a look like that since the 70s, man. But you know what, Kevin? Love you. I know he's sensitive. He sees something like this, then Kevin's going to get on his fake account and come after me. So I need to shut up.
Yeah. So we gotta be quiet. I can't let him come after me because he grew up down the block from me, so I'm gonna have to really be quiet.
I know y'all DMV boys, man. Y'all the Maryland boys. I know that.
Yeah. No, man. Hey, look, Mike, a lot of people don't know that this reason why I created The Next Role is because I like talking to interesting people. You're an interesting person. Everybody's not interesting. You know what I mean? It's just unfortunate, but everybody's not interesting. You, my friend, were in the Air Force. A lot of people don't know that. Then you joined television. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I was, I went to the military because I just wasn't ready for college at the time, man. So I needed some discipline. And I saw a lot of people where I came from, they would go to college for a semester or two, come back home and get like an odd end job or whatever. I didn't want to do that, man. So I knew it was a bigger purpose for me. So I went to the military to get money for college, man, so I can start this career. I always knew I wanted to kind of get into journalism. And then fortunately for me, I actually got a top secret clearance. A lot of people don't even know that. I worked at NSA for 3 years, man, National Security Agency. I still do not know how I got a top secret clearance. They didn't look too far into my background, especially my family's background. My dad was a hitman and all that. So this was before 9/11. So a lot of stuff happened. But I was fortunate enough, man, while I was in to actually start a program inside NSA where we gave news reports to the Joint Chiefs of Staff, CIA, FBI, to the president, everybody would that could get classified documents. And instead of doing the boring briefings, we do it as a news report. So I was doing the same thing as Tom Brokaw and Peter Jennings at the time, man. And even though I couldn't take any of the tapes out because they were all classified, it gave me my start, and it kind of gave me some practice on how to be a real solid anchor, man. And so the day I got out of the military, 2 hours after I got out of the military, is the day I got my first job in a city that you would know about, Hagerstown, Maryland, man, working at WHAG TV.
Wow, that's amazing. That's cool. That's a great journey, man. And what was going through your mind? Like, I mean, that's obviously that's huge. It's a big difference. Like
Yeah.
you've seen a lot of things, and being in the Air Force, there's some things you can't change. There's some things you want to unlearn, but you just can't unlearn. It's a form of PTSD in a sense. How were you able to channel all these different things and be able to do something else? Like we talked about being able to show up and just do your job. How were you able to just show up and do your job with the history and the past that you've had?
Yeah, I knew I had a purpose, man. I knew, like, we talking about the purpose. We talked about purpose early on in your life. Is that sometimes I knew what I was destined to do. I knew what was in my heart to do. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be on television. I just didn't know what genre. I knew kind of wanted to be. in broadcasting, television, acting, doing all those other things, man. So the entire time I was in the Air Force, even though in the beginning it was tough because I kind of got duped by the recruiter and I didn't get the job that I felt like I was going to get and that he promised me that I was going to get. So I had to kind of work my way through it. But it all worked out, man. I have a strong standing and faith in God. You know, I wouldn't consider myself a religious person, but I'm a very spiritual person. And I do believe that, you know, what's for me is for me. And so, like we talked about that burning desire that's on the inside of you, man, that drive of like, okay, I want to be great. I want to achieve these things in my life. And I knew this was one of the things that I wanted to achieve. So the whole time I was in, I'm like, okay, I know I'm not a 20-year person. I'm not going to retire in the military. So what can I do while I'm here to do my job, to serve the country, make sure
Yeah.
I'm doing everything I can do on that standpoint, take care of that first. But on the other side of that, how can I use this platform to help me to elevate to the levels and to the goals that I want to achieve in my life? And I was able to do that.
Hey, look, you've covered some huge moments in sports. What's the
Yeah.
one moment that still gives you chills?
I mean, I'm a New York guy. I was born in New York. I was raised in Alabama, but I'm a New York sports fan. Being able to cover the 2000 Subway Series, man, between the Yankees and the Mets, and to see my childhood team win a championship, you know what I mean? Because I was working in New York at the time at MSG, and then on top of that, because at the time Madison Square Garden had the rights to the Yankees, I was able to ride in the parade with the Yankees down the Canyon of Heroes, man. And to see millions of people, I've never seen that many people in my life, obviously, descend and just scream. And it's so loud that you can't hear yourself think or talk and look around. And there was this adrenaline that will never be duplicated, I don't think, unless I'm able to do that parade again. If the Knicks win a championship, I'm pretty sure it's going to double it because it's been so long. But to have that moment happen and to be on the float with Roger Clemens and Andy Pettit at the time, Jorge Posada and those guys, I was on with the pitchers and the catchers, man. I mean, that was something that I will always remember and always be unique. I was thrilled and I was scared at the same time because, you know, it's just I don't know if you've ever been in a parade like that, but to have that many people surrounding you, I'm looking around and I'm seeing nothing but a sea of faces, like and they all kind of mesh together. But even though they're screaming, there's also some nervousness, like, because I'm like, I'm in the open. Somebody could take us out at any moment. That's just my mentality from growing up in the hood. But it's like, it also made me nervous, but at the same time, man, it's something that I'll never forget. And it was such a great moment. And you know, I hope I get a chance to do it again.
Yeah, no, that's a beautiful thing. As you look back, is there one interview you wish you could redo?
One interview I wish I could redo. No, I mean, because I don't have regrets, man. I mean, like, you know, what happened at the time. Well, because it wasn't my fault. All right, so, and it's online, so people can look it up. Liam Neeson, he was on sports. You know Liam Neeson, the actor, right? So,
Mhm.
you know, Taken and all that stuff like that. So when we have these guys come in, we have segment producers and we have people who tell us, you know, hey, he just went to the Jets game. He's a big Jets fan. You know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. So you hear all these things and, you know, you hear from the publicists and all that type of stuff like that. So you get ready for the interview and you kind of have a guideline or you have a plan going into the interview, just like you do anything else. So I'm interviewing him on SportsCenter and we start talking about sports. He's on ESPN. So what we talking about? We ain't talking about Taken. We ain't gonna do the whole interview on Taken. So I can ask him about being an actor or whatever. But yeah, we're on ESPN. I gotta talk a little sports. Oh, I heard you just went to the Jets game. Blah, blah, blah. That experience, like, and at the time, Tim Tebow was the Jets quarterback. And I'm like, I had to ask him about Tim Tebow because he's so polarized. You know, everybody had to ask about Tim Tebow at that particular time. So I asked him about Tim Tebow. And he looks at me like he has no freaking clue what in the hell I'm talking about. I'm hearing he's a Jets fan. You just went to the Jets game. You don't know what Tim Tebow is. He looks and he says, right now you're speaking, what did he say? You're speaking some kind of different language. I forget what it was. He says, and he cursed on the air, on live television. And I was like, yeah. He says, are we live? I'm like, yes, we're live. And I was able to bring the interview back because then I had to, okay, well, this guy knows nothing about football. Let's go in this direction. Let's talk about this, blah, blah, blah. And I went unscripted on this entire interview, right? And I was able to turn the interview around. Now, obviously, after the interview's over, people coming down on me. Why are you asking about Tim Tebow? Blah, 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 blah. Everybody's in. Nobody want to hear about Tim Tebow. I'm like, the man has no idea about football, period. He went to the Jets game. I was told he was a Jets fan. I told you. So why can't I ask an interview? Why can't I ask that question? So people coming down on me, even some executives at ESPN was like, because he cursed on. I'm like, I didn't curse. He cursed. But they weren't talking about how I turned the interview around. So while I would do that part over, knowing what I know now, obviously, if he knew nothing about football, why would I ask that question? No, I wouldn't do that. But I'm proud of what I was able to get out of that after that moment. The fact, and it proved something to me that I was able to adjust and I was able to pivot on the fly without prompter, without any of that type of stuff like that. So it gave me an extra confidence, even though it was one of my more embarrassing moments in my career.
Oh, that's crazy, man. You know what you should have done? You should have kidnapped his daughter. You would have
Yeah.
been like,
You have 45 seconds to deliver my daughter. I'm coming after you.
That would have been good. That would have been good. I'll remember that next time I'm doing it, man. That's awesome.
kidnap your daughter, man. Hey, Mike, do successful men struggle with vulnerability?
Not now. I mean, I don't now. I'm super vulnerable, man. That's something that's really big on me. And you're talking about purpose as well, and trying to reach that success. I think I'm able to tell you I'm vulnerable when I'm able to tell you that I don't feel like I'm successful. Because on the outside looking in, so it's kind of funny you ask that question. I'm vulnerable enough to tell you I don't feel successful, right? Like we was talking about early in, like, hey, what is success? And people on the outside looking in, looking at your career and saying what you're having and all that type of stuff like that. I have allowed myself to strip down the mask and walking high and like, yeah, I'm the man. I'm on ESPN, I'm on Fox and all that type of stuff like that. And I, Netflix, and I was on Real Housewives, all that type of bull, to say, no, man, I still struggle with trying to make it in this business. I have not achieved the levels that I want to achieve. It's not always roses. Just because you see them on television doesn't mean everything's going great. So I've gotten to a point, thankfully, through the help of therapy, which I started like 7-8 years ago when I wrote my book, and just going through it and just using mental health, especially for Black men, as a platform. I'm super vulnerable about opening up about not just my career, but my personal life. So yes, I mean, successful men, what people deem as successful men, can definitely continue to be vulnerable.
Now, has fame complicated your personal life?
Yeah. And I don't consider myself famous. I consider myself familiar. I'm not the famous guy. I think famous people are the people like, hey, it's Kevin Hart. Oh, wow. Hey, can I get your autograph? That's famous people. I'm familiar. I'm that dude that people walk up to. I'm like, I know you from. Your face, it looks familiar. So I'm familiar. I'm not famous. You know what I mean? So I'm that guy, right? People don't know my name, but they kind of know that they've seen me somewhere. But it has, man, because, and I'll say it from this standpoint, personally, not the sports side of things, but and I don't really talk about it too much, but when I was married the last time and I was on that reality show, that type of fame, it depends on what kind of fame you get and the type of situation that made you famous or known to certain people. And because I've been known, and I'm known to certain people through a certain show, a reality show that is kind of like, and I don't want to disparage it too much, but it's not must-see TV or not class TV. It's a little trashy. It's not Love and Hip Hop, but it's still on that level, and it's just a notch above. And the certain people in that fan base and how they look at certain people and how they try to put people down and they try and use mistakes or whatever against people. Yeah, it's been very difficult. And to answer your question, to be very vulnerable, being on that show has actually hurt me professionally as well. Because you got to understand, me being a journalist and having a name, be a journalist, where there's a certain credibility that comes with that. And when you mix being on a reality show that people think is trashy with that, there are certain people that won't have anything to do with you because they don't want to be associated with that. There's a stench that is on you. There is an asterisk that's around you that people just don't want to have because they don't want to be associated with. And I've heard that I've lost $1 million contracts because of that show. So while there are a lot of people that think, oh, this show helped make you or gave you more popularity or a lot more social media followers, yeah, it could be, but it also took a lot from me as well. So me being vulnerable enough to admit that, that's where I stand right now. And yes, it definitely has had an effect on my life. But at the same time, the person that I am, I know that whatever has been taken away from me, that I'm gonna get back tenfold because I know what is for me and what's not for me won't be for me.
No, that's powerful. As long as you know that, that means you have faith and you understand that things take time and you know, you can't really dwell on the things that you can't control.
Nope.
I tell everybody all the time, the things that you can't control, just let it go.
Let it go. Gotta let it go. You have to let it go, man. You can't hold on to it because it's gonna wear you down. I can sit down and you can have a day. I tell people all the time, have a day, man. Think about it. Let it unload, man. Vent, take it to God, go to your therapist, talk to a good friend of yours that you unload it. But let it go, man, because life is still out there, man. Like if you have a setback in your 50s or whatever, and you still got 20 some years to live or 30 some years to live, why am I gonna let my life end because of this? And I don't have time to waste a whole week or 2 weeks mulling or being depressed about a situation that happens in life. It's called life. There are going to be ups and downs in life. And luckily for me, when I go up, when I have a notch down, I'm still, above a lot of other people. So I can look at those blessings and see, okay, what I still have, I can still work with this. So when you come from the mud or when you come from people, when you come from things that you didn't have a lot in life and you had to develop and you had to build it on your own and you were self-taught and you built this empire on your own or whatever the empire that you have on your own or whatever, and somebody tries to take some things away from you, you got to have the mindset that no matter what you took away from me, I'm going to get that back times 5. And that's just my mindset. So no matter what I lost over the last 3 years being on that show, I know eventually all of that and more is going to come back to me tenfold. And that's why I'm super excited about the future.
No, that's a beautiful thing. And let's talk about relationships real quick. I know you got to go, Mike, and time is running and it's going fast. This has been a beautiful conversation. A relationship. What's one red flag people ignore too often?
When somebody's not healed.
Mm.
When you're in a relationship with somebody and they're dealing with a lot of things in life, and it's like you can tell they're not healed. And this is where my therapies come into play. When people are still, and I don't think people are ever completely healed from anything. You can get shot by a gun, uh, and somebody could fix the wound or whatever, but you still might have complications here and there. You know what I mean? You can have a major injury where you tear your Achilles. I tore my Achilles twice, and even though it's fixed and I can still run again, there's still going to be something where I'm not 100,000% mentally or physically in some kind of way. So when it comes to the mental capacity, your emotions or whatever, I don't think anybody's completely healed, but you've done the work to do as much healing as possible. But they got to do the work. But when you have people who are still dealing with stuff and they've never gone to the mental doctor to figure out what is causing this and it's causing conflict and pain within them and it's having an effect on you when you're arguing a lot, that's a huge red flag, man. And it's something that they have to fix. And that's the red flag that in any relationship, I just won't deal with. And that's why I tell people, like the relationship I'm in right now, I'm like, hey, I'm not saying it's a prerequisite. I'm not saying that in order to be with me, you got to do this, but I highly encourage you to go to therapy about anything that you're going through in your life. If you haven't done it already, do the work because I've done the work. And yes, I'm not perfect by any means, but at the same time, I just can't deal with somebody that is emotionally unstable because they got traumas that's in their past that might be their fault or might not be their fault that they just haven't talked about or dealt with.
That's strong. And if Mike Hill had a warning label, what would it say?
Wow. I know that's a good question. If Mike Hill had a warning label, wow. Mike Hill had a warning label. Beware highly motivated. So yeah, I mean, I'm highly motivated. So beware of that in a sense. And when I say beware of my motivation, that means that I'm not going to allow anything or anybody to stop me from doing the things that I know I can do and I want to do in my life. So if you want to be in there and you want to try and stop me, once again, be in a relationship, if you are stopping me from trying to achieve these goals I want to in my life, especially and personally, I'm gonna run right through you. I'm going to tear right through you. I'm going to go around you some kind. I might stiff arm you. I might Heisman you. I might do this. I might hurdle you, but I'm going to get through you. So beware. So if you want to stand in my way and try and be that resistance, you're just going to get run over.
Wow, drop the mic. Here we go. Drop the mic. Mic drop.
Drop
Let me
it.
ask you, I'm going to get through this rapid fire and then you gone, Mike. Rapid
got
fire real quick. I'm going to ask you. You can just respond. Coffee or energy drink?
Coffee, baby.
If you could co-host a show with anyone in the world, if you can co-host a show with anyone, who would you choose? Would it be Michael Jordan or Tom Brady?
Ooh, Jay. MJ,
Okay,
I love
I knew you would say that. I knew you were going to say that. Who's the better athlete, basketball players or football players?
Ooh. Ah, man. As much as I respect y'all, man, as football players, I think basketball players bro. These basketball players these days, what they can do, and I know football players can do it on the basketball court and vice versa, but basketball players can go out there and make things happen as well. Yep, I say
Okay, how about this? Who's the better athlete, tennis players or soccer players?
I think tennis players. Tennis, quick twitch, fast, rapid motion back and forth. Still the same kind of endurance you got to have, even though they're not running up and down the field, because soccer players can rest sometimes. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I go with tennis players. You're constantly on the move when you're playing tennis.
That's a nice one. I like that. I'm sure Tiafo would like to hear that. That's my buddy. I've been hanging out with him the past couple of weeks, but he would love to. He would love to hear you say that. Action movies or comedians? Oh no, action movies or comedies?
I would take a good action movie that got a comedy twist to it. But yeah, I love action movies. Even though I'm a comedian, man, I love action movies because comedy movies hit or miss sometimes.
I'm gonna have to go with Jordan Peele, the horror comedy. I like that.
Yeah, really good, man. Something a little yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. A little action, but hey, man, make me laugh a time or two. You know, even
I got a nice thriller that I co-wrote. I actually created this movie in my head, Mike. It's called sorry to get into your rapid fire, but it's called Silt. We started off with Lake Vernon. I wanted to name it after me, Lake Vernon. But the lake that they go to is called Lake Vernon, but it's the silt at the bottom of the lake. So we want the silt instead of Lake Vernon. It's a pretty cool concept. We actually in post-production with it. It's gonna be fire, man. You should see it.
I want to get down with y'all, man. You with my girl Jocelyn Rose. I've been knowing Jocelyn. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We done some good stuff together.
Yeah, I need to hit her up, man. I've been knowing her for like almost 20 years now.
Why you at? Deshaun Hardy, who you just spoke to. He's a great director.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I'm trying to get down with y'all, man. I'm trying to branch out. I'm trying to show you my skill set, baby. I'm more than just a broadcaster. I got some things over here. I got some ideas too. Let's talk, man. Let's make some things happen.
We definitely gonna have to do something. We're gonna have to do something, man, for sure. Let me ask you this last question before you go. This is a big one right here. I can't wait to hear what you're gonna say. If you had a choice to have $200 million and never love again, or $500,000 and have the love of your life, what are you choosing?
Wow, you would have asked me that question. I got a girlfriend right now. Oh my God, you asked me that girlfriend. Okay, I can never love again.
200 million, never love again. 200 million, you can never love again.
Here's where I am, man. Give me 500,000 to love my life, because if I got the love of my life, I'm gonna make $200 million with her. We gonna do it together. We gonna make more than $200 million, because I'm gonna flip that 500,000, and we gonna flip that, and we gonna be worth $400 million. So give me the love of my life. The love of my life that understand me, that ride for me, that support me, that is in sync with me. Hell yeah, I believe that.
Man, I love that, man. That's what's up. That's powerful, man. Man, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming on. We enjoyed you.
Same here, man. Vernon, I appreciate you, man.
Welcome to the next row.